Welcome back to episode 12 of the Seen It All podcast, a podcast made by casual movie fans for the casual movie fan. Today, we're back with Yordi and I. We're going to talk about our favorite horror films. We're going to do top three,
Bum, bum, bum.
and we're going to do our favorite horror franchise alone, and then we're going to do our thoughts on most overrated horror film.
Yes, sir.
So with that, join us on this episode of the Seen It All podcast.
I'll hop in. Yeah, so just to preface, the horror movie genre is my favorite genre of movie. I It's kind of hard every time Jacob's like, "Let's go see this movie. Let's go see this movie." You can tell what type of movie it is because it'll be like, "Oh, let's go see The Mummy." I'm like, "Oh, I'm in." Then it'll be like, "Let's go see Michael. Let's go see Obsession." Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Like I don't. It's horror movies have not always drawn me though. And so I just want to preface my first pick coming up. I've watched a ton of horror movies. I love them. I think all of them are all special in their own way, or could be, even when they're so bad, they're good. Um, there are bad horror movies though, but it was really, really hard to pick. And if you brought up a movie like, "Oh, he didn't say this movie," I might be like, "Oh, I forgot. I love that movie so much." You're right.
Yeah.
So these I had to go read, and I try to pick a few from like different areas in horror genres, just so I'm not stacking up on one certain type of film. But I'm gonna take it back to the first horror movie I ever watched.
Uh-oh.
Did not finish it. Terrified, horrified. 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Turned on the Sci-Fi Channel, and on the TV was John Carpenter's The Thing. I did not even make it into the movie, but maybe like 20 minutes. There's a scene where the dog is an alien and it reveals itself. Broad daylight. I was tweaking. I ran out of the house scared. I couldn't be near my dogs for the rest of the day, terrified. And that was just like a core moment. I remember being like, that movie's scary.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do people watch horror movies? I was having trouble going to bed. I think I even tried to turn it back on, and there's another part where there's like a crawling head. Immediately off. I could not do it. Fast forward to today, I've watched that movie about 3 or 4 times, and I think the story that it tells, what they do, is very creative. Very nice practical effects for the time. Um, I think it's one of those unique kind of on edge thriller horror movies that just in my mind, it's something, maybe it's just with my childhood and how it disturbed me. It's just a horror movie that always stands out and I remember.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna kind of stay on the same like time frame theme of like I think it was up there with the first couple of horror movies I have seen. I may have been too young, but it's Stephen King's Children of the Corn, the original. I thought that movie was terrifying. I remember sitting down with my parents. I don't know why they allowed me to watch that.
Who watches Children of the Corn with their kids?
Exactly. And I it's just very vivid in my mind, that like opening scene when they go to that like cafe kind of thing and they put that man's hand in a blender. I was like, oh, okay. And then they bring out like these big machetes and start slitting people's throats in the middle of this cafe. And I was like, okay, this is pretty horrifying. I think I was like 12 or 11 whenever I watched it. But that from then on was like, I was intrigued by horror in general, but that one was like almost, I'm not saying it was like super realistic, but just the ideology of kids having the power to take over adults and showing like this like cultish leader, or like they had that like,
Isaac.
religious, yeah. Um like a religious kind of look or like a retrospective kind of take on it. And I thought that to me is just from like a personal experience of kind of my intro into horror movies. That's why I kind of put Children of the Corn as my, ever changing top three.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I like Children of the Corn too. I didn't know. I know there's a ton of actual movies from it. Not maybe a ton, but more than I thought possible, and I
Yeah.
haven't seen those. But yeah, that original, something about an old horror movie. Like there's a classic feel,
Yeah.
and like yeah, watching
It's
it when
like
you were
grainy
younger. Yes,
film kind of
that
deal.
grainy almost gives it some edge.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm watching some lost horror.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
um, yeah, I totally agree with you there. I'm gonna go ahead and swing into honorable mentions. I do want to shout out Weapons. Oh, I feel like we talk about
Definitely.
that movie a lot,
Go check
but
out that episode.
yes, absolutely. I think for the modern time, that is the best movie I've seen in a long time in the horror genre. But I feel like I might have some recency bias having watched it so freshly and
I
enjoyed
also
it.
think the theater plays into that. We've talked about that a couple
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna shout it out real quick because I do appreciate that movie, but I'm gonna drop it.
times.
I also want to shout out Stephen King, like you said. Love reading his books, love watching his movies. So things like It, Pet Cemetery, those are all classics and great to me. But hopping over kind of into my next genre, this movie's kind of like a comedy horror movie. Um, I remember, I think it came out in like 2012. Don't quote me on that. The movie's called You're Next. Um,
Hmm.
I always thought like which a home invader movie that I appreciate, Strangers, The Strangers Pray at Night. Those
Oh,
are good.
that's a good one.
This movie kind of takes a alternative take on it where there are people, a family being hunted, their houses being invaded. Um, but one of the people inside the homes is actually a lot stronger than the invaders realize. And I the movie has some really clever trap. Everything's pretty clever to me. Like I don't think anyone's too overpowered. I don't think anyone's necessarily like an idiot. There are some idiotic moments for some of the not as there are not as smart people, but I think everyone's on a kind of level playing field. They have their strengths. Nothing's like supernatural. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of like some of these horror movies is like they can get unsettling to you the more realistic they get. Like, oh, I was like besides them wearing masks, I guess, I was like, this could really happen in a way. So that movie really stands out again. I've watched it with my wife and I've watched it with a few friends a few times. It's a movie I've come back to because it's got some like thrill, it's got some comedy. I think it's pretty balanced.
Yeah. I have not seen that movie, so that will probably be on the list for my horror kind of to watch movies for sure. I'm gonna stay in the pre 2000s kind of deal. I gotta go Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. It's kind of up there with Halloween, uh, other films, and I think it just kind of has that. It kind of has the effect of on kids at least, kind of affecting your dreams and how your dreams can be, quote unquote, dragged into your reality. And what's even more scarier than you can't kill a monster like in your daytime life. The only way to kill him is in your dreams, but he could kill you in real life. And I thought that was kind of interesting. But I also think the casting was great. Like Johnny Depp, for that being his first film,
Yeah, I did
it's
not know that.
it's obviously I think he's the first person or like the second person killed in that movie, second or third. Um, but just to have somebody as star-studded as him be not even like the main character, but you obviously see what his career has done since that is also another cool factor of Nightmare on Elm Street. And again, like just kind of how you hinted at, like that old nostalgia kind of grainy film, horror film, again with the nightmare fuel and just the soundtrack of that movie
Mhm.
alone. Um, like stands out just like Jason Voorhees in those movies and Halloween, where the soundtrack or the score plays a big factor in how it's remembered in people's minds for sure. Yeah, I think the second one for me is I'm going with the classic of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I totally agree. For that prompt we have later on with favorite franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street was up there with me. They have a lot of I feel like they're pretty consistent. They get in, like, some goofy stuff with, like, the 3rd movie,
Yeah,
like Dream Warriors.
Freddy versus
Yeah, Freddy
Jason
Jason,
Voorhees, like
yeah.
seven
But he's a pretty good character too, that iconic knife
like
glove.
fingers. Yeah,
Yeah, and, everything, and, like, yeah, the scores across all these movies too, pretty iconic.
yeah,
Um, I feel like horror movies have the most iconic scores. There are scores that are more iconic than all horror movie scores,
yeah,
but you'll see a lot of those pop back up. Yeah, I agree right there. That one's a really spot on one, even though um, I think they did a redo of it or a remake
yeah,
for in like 2013.
yeah.
That Freddy Krueger went to Epstein Island. They focused a lot more on him hanging out with kids. It was
And
weird.
also, this is a fun fact. Did you know the actor for Freddy Krueger in the original is he played the guy in Stranger Things season 4. Um, he played one's dad or
Oh,
Victor's
really?
dad, the one they find. Same actor.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that tidbit. Um, and then yeah, so now I guess I'm hopping over to my third movie. And geez, another movie just popped into my mind that I had forgotten, but I don't think I'm even gonna stray from my list. That movie I want to shout out is Carrie.
The
Carrie is a
original.
yeah, I
Okay.
like the original. I like both. I like both, but I like the original. But I wanted to stray a little bit and go into the realm of more like indie, not indie horror. I feel like this movie's become a lot more popular.
I think it's just also a cult classic. Like it's almost in every like montage of like
Yeah,
films. There
with
is a
that
clip of Carrie in there.
yeah, with that clip of her covered in blood.
Yeah.
But with this next one that I'm going into, Creep. I remember watching Creep on Netflix,
Yeah.
um, and being like, that movie was a movie. That was so bizarre. Creep is one of those like subtle horror films. There's nothing terrifying. I think there are like one or two jump scares when he's got his wolf mask on, which I'm forgetting what the wolf's name is, like the character he plays. Um, but there's something about that movie. They mastered the art of being unsettling the entire time. You're thinking about how bizarre it is. You just feel uncomfortable watching it, which is like a subdued version of horror. And I think you could really see that movie was successful now. It's grown. Um, and people appreciate Creep for what it is. And you can kind of see you can make something so terrifying or so like unsettling on such a lower end budget and still be successful to still tell that story. Creep's different, but it's up there. It's a movie that I'll stand out and I'll remember in horror. So
Yeah.
passing it back to you.
I think for me, and I'm gonna save one that I'm just gonna use for my like franchise. Um, but I'm trying to think. I guess so. This is one I saw in theaters. I have not watched it since, so it may not be as good. I don't think it is. Like I think I attempted to watch it again, but it's that movie Lights Out that
Yeah,
came
you've
out
talked
a
about
couple
Lights
years
Out a
ago.
lot. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I guess it came out in 2016, 10 years ago. Um, and me and my buddy Gainer went to the movies and saw this. Theater was packed. I mean, I haven't been in a theater as packed like that for some weird reason. It was Friday night, everybody out, and that movie is up there. I think with I saw a lot of the Annabelle movies in theaters, and those are I'll talk about those eventually. But Lights Out is up there. It goes hand for hand or par for par with weapons on theater effect, like scariness on the edge of your seat. And I think I tried to watch it at home later on, and it was, it was not a movie because, again, we've talked about this time and episode. Going to the movies and making an event of going to the movie and getting yourself out of your comfort
It's
space
yeah, the comfort space is big for horror too.
enhances horror movies to another level. And when you get home, yeah, the movie may not like hit the same, but when you're in that theater, when you're watching, because I watched The Black Phone in theaters, that was scary too. But Lights Out is up there for me,
Peak.
just overall, just because of the theater effect and it having almost the same feel as Weapons in the manner of on the edge of your seat and not knowing what's gonna pop up where and et cetera, et cetera. So that's our top three. Excuse me. So we're gonna choose one horror franchise that we enjoy and we think that is good.
I love this. This is my favorite episode because I've been doing so many intermittent shout outs. I used to have a Shutter account. Shutter is the horror movie streaming service. Um, that's how much I loved horror movies. I would do like a movie. I had it in like high school. I'd come home and my parents would work at night, and so I'd be like a horror movie every day.
That's crazy.
There is a movie on there called Mad God, which was like a claymation horror movie. Very bizarre. I enjoyed that. It was very cool to look at. It was just very well done for being a claymation. Other shout outs, Coraline,
Ooh, that's a good one.
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs. That was up there for
I couldn't tell if I wanted to count it as horror. It's
yeah,
like
I
crime
think so.
thriller. It's scary,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it also dove into like I feel like there is 8 different like films that have to do with Hannibal Lecter
yeah.
after that. So like I would say so.
Yeah. I think it's up there.
You
I'm gonna shout out Evil Dead as a franchise. Very good.
yeah.
But it's weird. This is where I feel like I want to be like, yeah, I'm about horror movies. And I want people who listen to be like, now here's a guy that knows ball. But I just know like I there might be better, more consistent franchises out there, but I've always loved the Saw movies.
Yeah.
I talk about those a lot. I don't think that some of them have a good plot. I just watch them because I think the traps are really creative. But
It's
they're
kind of
like,
crazy how like were they just all like sitting in a room and be like, "Hey, let's make this woman jump in a needle bath or whatever."
yeah, they're just sometimes I think they're like just sketching up traps and then they're like, we have to figure out a plot for this. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, but they're just like, I mean, that's brutal. It's like body horror by all means, which is a genre, but there's something about them to me that are just so entertaining. I think I really like, after you watch them too, they do try to carry a story like up
Like the
until
same pace kind of deal.
yeah, and they like have some of the same characters. Detective Hoffman. I really like how they kind of like twist or try to have some big reveal. Like they try to be very like
Yeah.
there's a lot about them, and I think I like it for how many there are. There isn't like the most clear drop off in quality. Like some genre or some franchises, like 1 through 3 were golden, but then 4 was just
Yeah.
terrible. Yeah, the worst.
AKA Toy Story. Sorry.
Yeah, but Saw, like, yeah, some aren't as good. Like, but I think they have just like a pretty good consistency. So I'm gonna throw it out to Saw.
Yeah. That's a good one. I still think Saw 1 is up there all time kind of movies. Um, but for me, I'm gonna separate mine from instead of saying like the whole universe, and it's pretty, you know, world renowned. I'm gonna separate the Annabelle like series from The Conjuring,
Okay.
even though obviously it all spun together. But I think how they like spun Annabelle, that original story, into Annabelle Creation, and at the end of Annabelle Creation, how they almost loop back to the beginning of Annabelle. I thought that was one of the smoothest, almost prequel endings to an original.
I agree. Good
Uh,
prequel. Really good prequel.
and I know Annabelle's, I think it's Return or Annabelle's. I can't remember the third iteration of it. Um, but also, I mean, these Annabelle movies, you get the. It's almost these movies is where they branched off into different like segues into their series. Like they hinted at the Nun early in
Mhm,
the
mhm.
Annabelle and the Warrens' house. They hinted at um, the mirror in like the little room they keep all like
You're right.
the haunted stuff. That was like the latest Conjuring movie, and so I think it's very obviously it's hard to separate the Annabelle movies from the Conjuring itself, but I think specifically Annabelle and then Annabelle Creation is some of the best kind of horror lineup of like duo of movies I've seen personally. So with that, we're gonna spin it around. What is your overrated movie series or movie?
Yeah. This one I had a pretty clear answer. I think Blair Witch Project
Okay,
is super overrated.
I would agree. I would agree.
I've watched it when I was a kid, didn't care for it. Watched it, I think, in the past 3 years, super did not care for it. I get it. It's a found footage film. It was different for the time, but, like, it's it's not even, like, scary. It's
Yeah,
boring. It doesn't do much. I'm not really following a story besides being lost in the woods, and I get that that subgenre of found footage films can be really cool. There's movies called Great Encounters
mhm,
or Grave Encounters. They are super slow too, but they develop and they get scary. There's horror elements in them. I don't know, Blair Witch Project. I get the iconic status of like the budget they had, how they did it.
yeah,
Like that, and
yeah.
that's
I
great
agree.
work. They did become iconic, and I gotta give them all the praise. But for me, like I'm never gonna suggest it. It's not one I want to watch again because it didn't do anything amazing for me.
Do you mind if I say two real quick?
Yeah, go ahead and hate.
Okay, the first one of this of my least favorite of the series. This is a series. The first one's decent. Scream.
Yep,
There is no reason there should be more than one Scream, and I think we're on number 8.
too far.
Let's see. Let's do a
We're
little
too
research.
far. I agree. The first Scream, great, really cool. Every kid. Those kids growing up
7.
would wear the Scream mask that had the blood that would
Yeah,
pump.
yeah.
Yeah, like very iconic, very
Exactly.
cool
Everybody
movie.
knows that is from Scream.
Yeah,
I just don't think it should have been drawn out
it has a severe drop off.
from night. It was they made a movie. So Scream 1 came out in 1996. Scream 2 came out the next year.
They were riding that
And
high.
then the latest one came out in 2026.
Jeez.
So there is no way it should have spanned that entire time frame.
And they're just milking it for
And
money.
it's just like, and you've got Jenna Ortega in it. You've got these like big time actors that were obviously just trying to make a paycheck.
Yeah,
And I don't, and at the end of the day, I don't blame them.
I get a paycheck too, yeah.
But like,
Put me in a Scream movie.
but Scream to me is one of the more overrated films. Also, even though I was a victim of watching these movies, a victim is a strong word. Paranormal Activity. I thought those movies
Yeah,
were incredibly boring.
yes, I do not
I
like
felt like I
Paranormal
was
Activity.
watching just like if somebody went live on Twitch
Dude,
and like
it's
wasn't
so
even in the
boring.
screen and like
So boring.
moving like desks in the background. But for some reason, people swore that these were like the scariest
I don't
movies
get it. Yeah,
of
I
all time.
never understood it.
And I was just like, this is the dumbest subset of horror that we've had that had came out at least in our lifetime.
Yeah,
That to me
I
is,
agree. I'm glad you chose 2 because I agree with you wholeheartedly.
and
I think we have enough hate in this world that I can give a little bit more on those. Yeah, those movies are pretty rough.
for sure. Well, that wraps the top horror film episode. Yet we have Obsession to go see.
I
We've
need
got The
to.
Mummy to go see. We've got Disclosure Day. I don't know if that's going to be horror. That may be more sci-fi.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but there's a lot still on the slate for this 2026, and we obviously just got that new release of Primetime, which that comes out later this fall about Chris Hansen, and even though that's not a horror, but I think there's a lot of movies slated for this year, a lot of good reviews coming. So stick to checking out the Seen It All podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. Leave a comment on what your favorite horror movies.
Please leave a comment. I'll watch them all. I love horror movies.
With that, until the next episode, you've seen it all.